What's good there, guys? What's good? What's good? What's good? Just giving it a couple of seconds. We will start the stream at 10:10, but I'm just making sure that the sound and everything is okay, just so that when we do get started, we 100% here. Like maybe my girlfriend, who are our friends, What's good there, guys? What's good? What's good? What's good? Nice to have you guys here in the building with me. Let me just prep myself, put on my headsets, do the things to be done there, and then we'll get started, guys. We'll get started. We'll get started. Let me pop over to YouTube, get some jazz going. You guys know I love to get into the flow state with some good jazz there. So let's get into let's just get into some jazz. Okay. If you guys want to know what's my I guess here you guys go. This is my jazz playlist. I'm gonna listen to some Alpha Mist. I'm gonna listen to some Yusuf Days, some Robert Glasper, and then those are basically the three biggest jazz artists that I love listening to. So we're gonna get into some of them. They play some good music that helps me get into this nice flow state, this beautiful flow state. So at least when we're analyzing, we move. Otherwise, I'm gonna be checking out what you guys are saying there in the chats. I'm kind of just waiting for, I think my network is a bit slow there, but yeah, it will start just now. But otherwise, let me check what's happening there in the chats. I see Rahul there in the building. What time? Okay, cool. I think I did answer that there. Always thanks. I see Mafresh there saying hi everyone. I see Sean saying we're here. Ratan is saying let's go. I see Olwetu there in the building there. Olwetu, nice to see you. Yeah, I see you guys. Yeah, bro. Always morning there from Pizza. Welcome, guys. Let's get started. I'm not sure if you guys want me to go through some DXY, but DXY, basically, okay, if we do have a look at some DXY, maybe just before we get into the overall analysis, let's make this full screen. So just getting into some DXY. Basically, what we've got here, same high time frame structure that we've been stuck inside for a while now. We've got this nice ascending structure. In this ascending structure, we've got our first touch, we've got a second touch there. Prices are somewhere in and around this third touch region over here. And now that, now that prices are at this third touch region over here, we can see that prices are basically being corrective around this third touch region. We're closing above the structure, we're closing back below the structure. Hence, we've got some corrective price action. Dropping down onto a 4-hour, we can see that things are, or at least price action is stuck inside some sort of a range. Obviously, we've got some extreme resistance, our nice highs over there, extreme support, nice lows over there. Ever since we created extreme highs and extreme lows, we've been creating levels of structure within those extreme highs and extreme lows, kind of giving us an indication of prices moving more sideways than in any particular direction. So since we're at this third touch region, what we're going to do is we're just going to take the range like it is. We're going to be looking for some selling probabilities from the high of the range and obviously buying probabilities from the low of the range. Since we're at that third touch region and we're coming towards some resistance, it makes a lot of sense for us to look for those reversal structures to prepare for some sell biased momentum since we're going towards the high of this range. So simple enough, what we're going to be waiting for in the DXY, because prices are inside some sort of impulsive move, we're going to wait for prices to obviously give us some sort of a reversal structure somewhere in and around this region here. It doesn't really matter what this reversal structure looks like, whether it's an ascending structure, whether we break above a level of structure, come back below and retest, doesn't really matter. All that matters is that at this area, at this resistance area, we're looking for some sell bias momentum. And all we're going to do to be able to trigger ourselves into this trade is obviously just wait for the candlestick confirmation and as well as our chart pattern that then confirms that price is ready to move to the downside. So on the DXY, I am still sell bias on this pair. I'm just going to wait to see how does price basically react to this level of structure here. Yeah, maybe we'll see some dollar weakness coming into play, So let's check. I think I'll just be checking in between every pair. I will just come over to the chats and just make sure that everything is 100% here in the chats. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I'm also just making sure that the sound is okay, because what I did on Saturday, I don't want to do it again. And I do want to apologize to all of you guys that joined our stream on Saturday. I realized where I faulted and there was no sound in Saturday's stream. So I keep on just coming to check. I'm a little bit paranoid, but otherwise let's get into it. So let me just do, because I can see that I do have my own analysis from this morning, just kind of preparing for myself. So let me just go through my pairs and just delete that so that when we go through these pairs, we're able to explain properly with some good directional biases. Okay, I'm just checking if there's any errors on any of our charts. If there are any errors, then we'll just delete that and then just make sure that we're doing everything together. Everything should be done together. Cool. I think we don't have any more errors on our charts. Let's go into some Aussie CAD. Don't see any real questions there. I see Antiphone is my favorite song. How is there, Taban? We've got a listener there in the building, man. We've got a listener there in the building. I see Mlungisi also there in the building. Wayne Shava saying, let's get this coin. Let's get this coin. I see Danda saying the price broke out impulsively on the H4. Yeah. Peter saying, please don't repeat Saturday. No, I definitely won't. I'm going to be a lot more hands-on, and I'm on the stream on my side as well, just so that I can make sure that we don't have any of those Saturday issues. But otherwise, let's get into some Aussie CAD. So from a daily, we still got the same high time frame structure, nice descending structure. We see prices breaking to the upside of this descending structure. Now, after we broke to the upside, we can see prices are being corrective in and around this resistance trend line. So we can see prices breaking and closing above, prices coming back below our resistance trend line and breaking and closing below. So basically, now that we've got that, we understand that prices are being corrective around this resistance trend line and whatever other horizontal resistance areas we might have there, any of these other resistance areas, prices have been corrective around those areas because we've broken and closed above and we've broken and closed back below those areas. So dropping down onto a 4-hour, we already understand that price is in some sort of a corrective structure, horizontal correct or sideways moving corrective structure, because ever since we created extreme highs and extreme lows, we've been seeing structure inside of those extreme highs and extreme lows. So obviously what we're going to be looking for is for that sell bias momentum, because we are coming towards this resistance area over there. towards our previous higher structure. So obviously this is a previous area where we see some sellers coming into the market. And so when prices come back into this region over here, we're expecting to see maybe some sellers to jump into the market. So obviously going off our bias from this weekend, from Saturday, what we were looking at was this sort of double top looking type of a show of a structure. And obviously we've broken the neckline, but remember we did say that we want to trade this previous support that will function as resistance. But for us to be able to trade this support, what we need to see is for our criteria. And what our criteria is we want to see the market create a level of structure, number one. Number two, we want to see the market move away from that level of structure. And obviously we haven't seen this market move away from this level of structure, meaning that we can't be looking to trade the structure as a retest level of structure. So obviously number two, we wait for the market to move away from that level of structure. Three, the market must come back. Four, the market must show us rejections. And five, our entry trigger is the momentum shift away from that level of structure that the market has created, moved away from, come back to, and has rejected. So obviously we didn't see that criteria. So we couldn't be looking to trade some breaks and retests because number two, our most important one, we didn't see prices moving away from this level of structure. So what we're going to be doing here is on our 1 hour, we obviously observe there is a change in the trend. We do see obviously prices now being slightly bearish. I'm just trying to move my charts, bring it to the center. We do see prices being slightly bearish over there and violating this support structure over here. So obviously in some sort of a way, the trend has maybe potentially changed. And so what we're going to be looking for is for that continuation of whatever new potential downtrend we've come. Since we've seen prices giving us a new lower low, and we know that we want to be sell bias, what we're expecting from prices is for price to create a lower high. So if I look here, my left-hand side, I've got some points of interest where I want to be looking for some trading opportunities. So just looking at over here on our left-hand side, in all of this nonsense here that was able to violate these support structures here, I'm asking myself, where did I see momentum coming in? I see momentum coming in here. There's a nice bearish engulfing candlestick on a 15. Momentum came in from here. I've obviously refined this zone down to a 1 minute time frame. And then as well as I do see another bearish engulfing up here, meaning that momentum did come in from here as well. So that's another point of interest, or an area where I can look for that sell bias trading momentum. And then just above these equal highs over here, I see my last area where I'm willing to sell from, which also has been refined down to a lower time frame. So basically, these are my 3 points of interest. This is where I'll look to trade and find my first selling opportunity, my second selling opportunity at this point of interest, and obviously the last area where I'm looking and the area where I'm looking to add my size for the momentum to the downside, this point of interest up there. So I've got 3 zones where I'm looking to find trading opportunities if prices does come into these areas throughout the day. So just highlight these 3 zones as well on your side. If you guys want to see how I isolated these points of interest, I will show you guys. So basically I did, like I told you guys, I refined them down to a 1 minute because I want to be on that small time frame when I'm trading Aussie CAD. So same thing, I'm just looking for where I see momentum, bearish engulfing. I see bearish engulfing on a 1 minute over there. I see bearish engulfing on a 1 minute over there. And then obviously that highest area where I told you guys I'm looking to sell, you guys can see that we've got some reaction from the market, which you can see on a 5 minute, there's some green candlestick in there. But I just refined the area to where do I see a nice bearish engulfing above those swing highs where I see momentum coming in. And obviously we see a beautiful bearish engulfing over here, just a couple of nice consolidation followed by some beautiful momentum, showing us that within this small consolidation that happened for a couple of minutes, which direction were the orders being stacked on? The orders are obviously being stacked on the sell side of things because we can see nice momentum pushing to the downside. So that's kind of the zone that I refined my analysis to. So just coming back to this stuff over here, just come back to a higher time frame, like the 5 minute. I don't have any structure that I can isolate, but obviously maybe you could look at this corrective nature there. Ask yourself, where did this corrective nature start? It started somewhere here. Where's the next high to have been formed? The next high is over here. Then maybe you guys can also maybe just draw a resistance trend line to add some confluences for yourself. Understand that, okay, there is some nice convergence in and around this area somewhere here where our resistance trend line does meet somewhere with our horizontal point of interest. So this does function as a nice area where we look for our reversal structures. Obviously, I always tell you guys, as long as we've got a resistance area before prices come into the point of interest, we can always use this resistance area to manage our trade and as well as our bias. As long as we've got this resistance area, if we're above that resistance area, we look for our reversal structures because we are looking for some sell bias momentum, whether it's a head and shoulders, doesn't matter what kind of a reversal structure forms. We look for our reversal structures above our level of resistance. Then obviously, once we see prices breaking back below this level of resistance, if we failed to find maybe some sort of a risk entry up top there, then obviously we wait for prices to break back below our resistance, and we look for that continuation structure below our resistance area to come back and retest so that we can find some continuation to the downside. So on Aussie CAD, we're nice and sell biased. We've got this nice points of interest up here where we're looking to add our size. All we need to do is just wait for our entry criteria when prices tap into our points of interest, which is number one. What we want to see as our entry criteria is first of all a chart pattern. If prices are coming impulsively, especially, and otherwise, if prices are coming correctively, then we can allow ourselves to look for risk entries in these points of interest, which is basically us trading the first candlestick that we find that comes into our point of interest. Once we find a candlestick that gives us confirmation away from our point of interest, then we take that if price has been corrective as it was approaching this zone of interest. But if we've been impulsive, then we wait for a reversal structure first, because the reversal structure will tell us that, hey, don't be this dumb guy over here and take that bearish engulfing. Don't be this dumb guy and take this bearish. Don't be that dumb guy and take that bearish engulfing, because price is going to stop you out. Wait for the head and shoulder structure and rather look for that right shoulder entry. So that's what we do by looking for a chart pattern first on our entry time frame, is that we just avoid taking premature entries or entries that are kind of just a little bit too late or after the momentum shift or whatever the case is. So otherwise, we sell biased on Aussie CAD. Let's just go. Why have I been saying Susian this whole time? Because I feel like my mouth has been saying Susian. But otherwise, we sell biased on Aussie CAD. Yeah, let's go into our next pair, guys. Let's go into the next pair. So next pair is Aussie Swiss franc. Aussie Swiss franc. Let's just go back up to our higher time frames, like the 4 hour. See some nice momentum pushing to the upside. So let's just see what's going on here in the chat. Yen pairs are currently at high value areas. These yen pairs, I'm just going to exercise some patience, because I do want to sell all of these yen pairs like AJ, Swiss yen, and New Zealand dollar yen. But in terms of the structure that I'm waiting for to develop on these pairs, I feel like they're still very much impulsive to the upside. And since I want to sell them, I'm just going to exercise some patience and wait for the structures to change on those pairs. I see Tato saying, morning, good people. Atenkosi saying, US30 orders are open already. US30 orders, I hope you're in that buy, because I know US30 has been pumping up, following through on some German 30 momentum there from the morning. I see Aussie New Zealand dollar has been flying and still holding. I used to love that pair. The only reason why I stopped trading AUD NZD is just because AUD NZD, you can wait for ages for stuff to develop on that pair. Like if you're going to look at the 4 hour and AUD NZD, you find 4 hour looks like this. As much as maybe we're in impulsive phase, 4 hour structure in an impulsive phase looks like this. Looks like a whole lot of chop moving up. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I stopped trading that pair. But nonetheless, it's a damn sexy pair to trade. I love some of these AUD pairs. And otherwise, let's get into what we're gonna get into today on Aussie Swiss franc. So on Aussie Swiss franc, I don't know if we should look at the daily. Okay, let's just have a look at the daily. So looking at the daily, we're in this descending structure, right? We do understand that a descending structure would normally break to the upside. So we know that maybe from a high time frame perspective, we want to be bullish on this pair. But obviously, we're in this impulsive phase. We've just broken structure. We're still moving to the upside. After every impulsive phase, we do expect the market to do some sort of a pullback or some sort of a corrective structure to continue the momentum to the upside, if to follow through on the structure all the way to the 90% rule of the structure. But obviously, looking at where we are right now, looking left, we can see here a lot of momentum came into the market from this area over there. Nice big pin, rejection, bearish engulfing. All this momentum came in from this resistance area up here. So obviously, we're looking as to how is price approaching that level of resistance, and then obviously what are we doing at that level of resistance. Now, this is our resistance trend line to mark out that level. But now on a 4 hour, we can obviously see there's some sort of an ascending structure. First touch, second touch, third touch. You guys can see we have violated our resistance area at this third touch region. Now, obviously, I always tell you guys, if you've got a point of interest and we've got a resistance just above this point of interest, we're always looking for one of two things. We either wait for a reversal structure above this resistance. If we don't find one, we wait for a corrective structure followed by that retest below this resistance area. So that stops us from jumping into those premature trades. So obviously, if we had looked and been excited, knowing that we had a third touch, whatever, started selling double top regions over there, whatever the case is, and breaks and retests, we would have been out of this position. But because we observe from a higher time frame that we're coming here impulsively, we want to see prices rounding off first. Now, what we're going to be doing is, obviously, because we see some momentum pushing to the upside, we're going to wait for some sellers to show themselves. So once we see prices rejecting and breaking back into the structure, once we've broken back into this, obviously this higher time frame ascending structure, once we've broken back into the structure, then obviously we wait for our corrective structures on nature that confirms that sellers are ready to push prices lower. So we're waiting for sellers to show that they're in this market. And then once we see these sellers, obviously by seeing momentum coming into the downside, then we'll look for those continuations in price action for that downside momentum. So I'm always funny like I always says this, that you must be stubborn. Millionaires and billionaires, they don't compromise. So even as well, we do the exact same thing. If we're looking for something, like you guys say, I'm not even going to trade JPY pairs because I want something else, and these JPY pairs are not doing what I'm looking for or what I see based off a structure. From a structural perspective, they're not doing what I see. So I'm not going to trade them. I'm not going to compromise and then go start buying them because I can see that they're all pushing up or whatever the case is, because that's not where my high time frame analysis or where my high time frame bias is. My high time frame bias is to the downside. So I'm going to be very stubborn. Same thing with all these other pairs. With CCN, I'll be very stubborn. I'll wait for what I'm looking for, what makes sense to me in terms of what I understand and what should be happening in terms of my own understanding in the market. I'm going to wait for that to present itself. If it does not, then I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to compromise and change and start buying because I see market is buying and doing this and doing that. No, we trade our plan and we plan what we're going to trade. So this is our plan of what we're going to trade. And obviously when it comes down to trading, we need to trade the plan. So let's go on to some AU, see what's going on there on AU. So let's just start on a daily. So on a daily on AU, what we can see is some momentum to the downside, violating these levels of structure over here. After we've seen this momentum pushing to the downside, what we've seen is price entering some sort of a corrective structure. Moving to the upside, how do we know it's corrective? Is because we're looking at these highs and these lows. We have extreme highs here. We see prices breaking and closing above, breaking and closing below. So giving us an indication of corrective nature. We've got these new resistance areas up here. We've also on a smaller time frame, but we'll get there. But let's just stick to what can we see from a daily? From a daily, what we can also see is that this region of this momentum, obviously that we spoke about first, that violated these levels of structure. We can see that that momentum came in from somewhere in and around this resistance area, and obviously we're approaching that resistance area. So as much as prices are moving up, we're at resistance. That makes more sense for us to be sell biased than it does for us to be bullish biased on those lower time frames. So coming down onto the 4 hour, what we will see is obviously the structure that we almost spoke about. This nice, beautiful corrective structure. Now, in this corrective structure, we've got a nice first touch there, a nice second touch, and you guys can see we're at the third touch region right now. So we first of all look as to how did price come to this third touch region. We came impulsively. What is price doing at this third touch region? We are now correcting, showing a loss of momentum as we're moving to the upside. So dropping down onto those smaller time frames like an H1, you guys can see I've isolated some sort of an ascending structure for myself, taking into account my extreme lows and my extreme highs to start to draw my resistance and my support so that I can get a nice corrective structure that I can trade. Sorry, I'm just making sure that the stream is still okay. Cool, stream looks like it's still cool. Yeah, so we've got this nice, beautiful ascending structure. I've got a nice first touch, second touch over here. So obviously you guys can see we can expect a nice third touch that does kind of align and does come into this resistance area that we've already spotted from a higher time frame perspective over there. So what I'm going to be waiting for is I've got a resistance over here, nice new resistance area up there. Obviously, we can look to see how prices are acting around this resistance area. But if we break and close above, then we look for reversal structures above this resistance. If we fail to find a risk entry, we wait for price action to give us momentum back below this resistance, and we look for some continuations of the momentum that has pushed price action back below this resistance area over there. So that's kind of our very simple bias there, is that we're just waiting for prices to come up, give us a nice, beautiful third touch. At this third touch, we'll obviously be looking for our confirmations to find those sell bias trading opportunities. Just following through on our high time frame bias, we're going to be sell bias on AUD USD, just waiting for prices to come up and give us that touch. Obviously, right now we're at that double top region, so we can be on those smaller time frames, just looking to see how does price react to this resistance area up there. And you can see it's been kind of impulsive towards this resistance area. So even if maybe I was on a smaller time frame or whatever the case is, an isolating structure, I guess I would still be waiting for some sort of a reversal, because just isolating structure on a small time frame, because that's my eyes are focused on what I can find on a 1 minute now, because my eyes are already looking at 1 minute structure. So on a 1 minute structure, I would already see this nice ascending structure with prices approaching my third touch region of this ascending structure. So obviously, I would be waiting for a reversal structure, whether it's a double top, whether it's a head and shoulders, whether it's an ascending structure, doesn't matter, because that touch region, and I could find trading opportunities at this double top region over there. So that's basically what I'd be doing on a 1 minute time frame, but I'm not going to be that low. I know that my safest entry and entry that I can look to add size will come in at that touch region. So that's kind of maybe what I'm going to be waiting for, instead of pumping myself in prematurely. Unless we get a nice structure in this area, this double top region, we're not going to be looking to short this double top region as yet. Yeah, so sell bias on AUD USD. You guys know what's our top round analysis, what's our high time frame analysis, and why we sell biased. Let's go on to AUD New Zealand dollar. I mean, listen to me, AUD NZD. I mean NZD CAD, guys. Yeah, New Zealand dollar CAD. See, okay, so last text here is still by Atenkosi saying AUD NZD has been flying and still holding. So no new questions there in the chats. Let's continue with our analysis. Let's continue. So coming into Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, we're inside of this overall high time frame descending structure over there. So obviously, descending structure warrants us to be bullish biased. If we just have a look at just this most recent structure over here from a daily perspective, we can see that we've got price action coming in from the top over there, giving us a left shoulder, giving us a head, and obviously we can expect a right shoulder to complete at this area over here, previous support. The prices have broken below and broken back above. We can expect that nice corrective retest, and obviously the completion in this area over here, where we look for this higher time frame inverse head and shoulder to kind of complete itself. Yeah, and give us some nice bullish momentum. So we already understand that from a higher time frame perspective, the area where our bullish probabilities will come in major and big time is down low at these support structures over here. So that's kind of already, we know that that's where we're going to be looking for our higher time frame bullish bias trading opportunities. Now let's just erase all of this just so that we have some clean charts and we can drop down onto a 4 hour. Now on a 4 hour, what we've got here is some sort of an uptrend. So if we just have a look at what's going on here, we look at some support. I thought I grabbed this tool. We look at some support, new resistance, higher lows, higher highs. We've got higher lows, we've got higher highs, we've got higher lows. And ever since we created these highs and these lows, price action has been creating levels of structure inside, giving us some sideways moving market. So some characteristics of a sideways moving market. And obviously, if we're in a range, in some sort of a range, we already know buying probabilities from the low of the range and obviously selling probabilities from the high of the range. Now that we're bullish bias and we've got a nice support, remember I always tell you guys, once we've got a level of structure and a point of interest just below the level of structure, all we can do to manage that bias is look for reversal structures below our level of structure. If we don't find a reversal structure below coming into this point of interest, once we violate our support, then we wait for the momentum to push prices back above our level of structure, and we wait for the nice corrective retest before we look for some upside continuation. So this is kind of what we're going to be looking for, higher time frame. This is the area where we're looking to add size when price does come into this area here. Depending on how we come here, if we come here correctively, then we look for those risk entries. If we come here impulsively, then we wait for reduced risk entries. Now let me just delete this just so that we know our point of interest is up here. We're looking for buying opportunities from there. But now on a lower time frame, I've also got some analysis inside of this structure over here. So on a smaller time frame, obviously things are bullish because we've got some support, we've got higher highs, we've got higher lows, and we've got higher highs. So characteristics of a nice young uptrend over there. So asking myself the simple question, where did the momentum come in that managed to violate these levels of resistance over there? That momentum came in from somewhere in and around the support area over there. So all I did was go down into a smaller time frame, then obviously see where can I find that entry? Where can I add my size? So I've got obviously some points of interest down there. Prices came close to, but not quite tapping into this point of interest. Otherwise, yes, we could have taken a risk entry at this point of interest if maybe we were looking at price action when it came here. But nonetheless, since price action has not come into this point of interest, we did not execute on any candlestick confirmation that left this zone. But what I was trying to do was maybe trying to find a reduced risk entry, observing previous support that prices have broken below, broken back above, and whatever the case is, just looking to trade inside of this area over here. But nonetheless, obviously, if we drop down onto a smaller time frame, we'll find that price action is giving us some momentum to the upside and a continuation structure. And we can look for our exact same setup, guys. The same setup that we look for all the time. Once we see momentum, we've got a nice lower structure over there. Can we find a point of interest on a 1 minute time frame just below our zone over there? We can find 2 points of interest. We've got our first point of interest over here. Let's just do this nicely. We've got our second point of interest down low over here. Just give me 1 second over here. Let's just do this and just see something quickly. Okay, cool. So already just based off where volume was executed, where people are executing their trades and stuff, we can see that obviously at this price region, a lot more people were executing trades than at this price region over here. So that already tells me that if I'm looking for continuation structure from price action over here, let's just do this at our resistance, whatever resistance we've got now. We've got this support here as our new lowest low. We can even delete this just so that we don't do anything prematurely. We already know that this point of interest here does function as an area where we can look to trade on a 1 minute if we do find. Guys, the only reason why I'm on a 1 minute is because I've got a process that allows me to be on a 1 minute time frame. If you look at where I'm trading, I'm still trading at a higher time frame level of structure where I will find an opportunity to obviously turn a scalp into a swing, turn a swing into a position trade or whatever the case is, trying to maximize on my higher time frame analysis. But otherwise, let me just set an alert here for myself just in case price action comes into this point of interest while I'm not looking at my charts or while I'm doing analysis or something, just so I'm aware. But otherwise, exact same setup, guys. I look for the exact same thing on every time frame. Price action is fractal in its nature, and so what I see on a high time frame, I will see on a lower time frame. But obviously, this is just for maybe a young day trade or a scalp or whatever the case is, looking for trades inside of here. But where we're going to look for our swing is if price action does come into our points of interest. If these setups fail, then we're not going to be looking to trade anywhere inside of here. No matter what price action does, we're not going to be looking to trade anywhere inside of here. The next entries that will present themselves to us are our higher time frame setups, where we obviously wait for price action to come and violate these lows, and we look to add size somewhere inside around this price region over here. So obviously, when prices get here, we're going to come down onto a lower time frame, isolate where those points of interest are, see how many opportunities price might give us to trade. If we've got 3 opportunities, then we split our risk into 3. We know that we might get stopped at 3 times inside of this point of interest before we get a good trade. That's if we're trading the higher time frames. Remember, I told you guys that I'm on the 1 minute because I've got a process that allows me to trade the 1 minute. I've got a process, a risk management process. I've got an entry criteria. I've got everything that allows me to trade the 1 minute. That's why I go that low. So obviously, if that's not a time frame that you go down to, then stick to the higher time frames because you're going to get a lot of valid price action on the high time frames. Remember that we always say time frames are like some sort of an indicator. They're like a moving average where on the high time frames, the information is nice and smooth. But on the lower time frames, we get a whole lot of detail that allows us to trade whatever higher time frame directional bias we get. So obviously we want to trade the validity of the higher time frames, this smoothness, that's what we want to trade, but we need the detail of the lower time frame to be able to execute with a well-managed risk. So that's kind of what I'm doing there. Same thing, all our principles. If you guys don't know what time frame thinking is, go and search for my YouTube channel, guys. Go and search for my YouTube channel and look for a video that's called Time Frame Thinking, and you guys will see the concept that I'm telling you about. I don't think you'll find it anywhere else on YouTube, but if you do search Time Frame Thinking, you'll find something there, or just search t.main or whatever the case is, and you'll see what the whole concept of time frame thinking is and how I use it, how I validate it, how I spot it, and how I trade this concept. So otherwise, let's just move on. So we bullish bias on this New Zealand dollar CAD. We know that this is our area for size, but we also have other minor key areas inside of there where we're looking for a young scalp. So I've given you guys my whole plan for the day, for next week, for the current week, for everything on New Zealand dollar CAD. You got my whole plan, guys. So otherwise, let's get into the last pair that we're going to have a look at, and that is our US30. Just want to see if price action did come back for this trade. We didn't come back to this area, but otherwise we are moving correctively up. I was looking for a young buy there, but I didn't find an entry. This momentum came in a little bit too fast, so I was hoping for a young retest of where I see the momentum coming in that was able to violate this level of structure. The price action didn't really come down there before we moved and violated this resistance. So anyway, we'll just see how price action develops, but let's get into our analysis. So let's just start off on a 4-hour. So basically, if you look at price action from a 4-hourly perspective, we're in this nice descending structure. Descending structure obviously warrants us to look for some bullish bias trading opportunities. Though coming into just the most recent price action here on a 4-hour, what we can see is just price action is at this resistance trend line. And we are being very corrective around this resistance trend line. If you look at where we're coming to this resistance area where we obviously see some momentum coming in that was able to violate these support structures and as well as maybe these support structures over there. So obviously, because we're coming towards resistance, we always want to understand what is the narrative, what is price action doing, what's the environment that we're trading, and then we want to see right now where is price relative now, where is price action now relative to where price action has been in the past, and then that's how we're basically making decisions. Yeah, so obviously taking into account that price action is coming towards resistance, okay for us to be a little bit sell biased on this pair. So looking at the structure that we've observed over here, let's just drop down onto an hourly, onto an H1. So on an H1, we've got a first touch, second touch. Obviously, you guys can see that price action does have the potential to come up and complete a nice third touch, or maybe even complete some structure inside of this point of interest, maybe before we see some sell biased momentum. But from a high time frame, and I didn't explain this, so let's just go back up to a 4-hour. From a higher time frame, we do want to jump into this nice bullish momentum that we see coming in here. So obviously, where we can find trading opportunities for that bullish momentum is at previous resistance over here that prices have broken above and not retested as yet on a higher time frame as support. So that's kind of why we have these points of interest over here marked out on those smaller time frames where we can find some bullish bias trading activity. So obviously, if we want to buy or if we want to look to buy, we know that the areas where we'll find some good probabilities and obviously that higher time frame alignment is these support structures over here where we can look to add size, obviously, for our buying trading opportunities. Otherwise, right now, the structure that we're involved in looks more like a sell bias structure. And that's kind of why when prices do get here from maybe from an hourly perspective, that we're going to be looking for some sell bias trading activity. So obviously we'll be able to isolate whatever structure we can isolate there. We'll see if price action does allow us to isolate the structure, but we'll just see when price action violates these resistance areas. Do we find our reversals above? If we don't find our reversals above and we do see momentum pushing price action back below, then we look for continuations of momentum to the downside. So on US30, that's why I have an orange marker here, is because I'm biased in both directions. I will find buying opportunities, I will find selling opportunities, but obviously I am trading just the most current, the most recent price action. And the reason being why I was looking for longs for the day was because I saw most recent momentum coming into the upside, violating my resistance areas, and I saw corrective price action coming into the downside. And on a 5-minute, I had a point of interest down there. This last bearish candlestick over here was our point of interest where we're obviously looking for price action to come back below. Nice equal lows just below obviously is a nice point of interest. So let's tell you guys, we look for reversals. Once we have a level of structure just below, we look for reversals below. I didn't find a nice reversal structure that I was willing to trade. And then obviously we wait for continuations once price action breaks back above. So that's kind of why I was looking for this trade as my continuation for that momentum to the upside. But the closer we get to our 90% rule, the less I'm going to be interested in taking this buying opportunity. And obviously, once we tap into the 90% rule, I will delete whatever analysis I have here preparing for a young buy. But otherwise, guys, that's my analysis. You guys know my plan on every time frame, my thought processes, why I want to do what I want to do. Hopefully you guys are all sorted. Hopefully you guys are all sorted there. I think maybe we might have like a couple of minutes. Let's just see what's the time. It's 10:45. Maybe we might have like a young 5 minutes there, whatever the case is. Let's just try and end the session at maybe 10:50 or something like that, because I've got a one-on-one at 11 o'clock. So I'll just open to maybe a couple of questions that you guys have there. You guys can type it out there in the chat for me. And then otherwise, if maybe you guys don't have any questions right now, or whatever the case is, guys, go follow me on Instagram. follow me on Instagram, because you'll obviously be able to DM me there. That's the easiest way that someone that is not in constant contact with me can get into contact with me. And maybe you guys will also follow up there, see what I'm posting on my stories. If I've got any analysis, if I've got whatever, you guys can follow it there on Instagram. So if you guys do want to follow me, let me type out my Instagram handle there. It's at t_main.sa. So let's just type it in there, t_MAYNE.SA. And that's my Instagram handle, guys. If maybe you guys want to text me or whatever the case is on Instagram, or see what I'm doing there, you guys can go ahead and do that, guys. You guys can go ahead and do that. But otherwise, let me see if you guys got any questions there. If you guys got any questions, I'll just wait and see. I'll just wait and see. Let me have something to drink while I'm waiting, guys. I'm just waiting to see, guys. I'm gonna end the session at like maybe 10 to, maybe 5 to, if there are like relevant questions there for us to jump into. Let me just see. You guys know I always try and make it like, I don't want to come here and just talk and ramble and just ramble. Like if we've got an opportunity to spend a couple of minutes with each other or whatever the case is, let's make it as useful and as productive as possible. As productive as possible. I think let me just delete this while I'm waiting for your guys' questions. Still don't see any questions. Are you guys in the building? I'm even worried that the stream isn't working anymore. Okay, the stream, I can hear there is sound. There is sound. Guys, no one's got any questions. I guess if no question comes through by 10 to, then we'll just call it a session, guys. If there aren't any questions by 10 to, we'll call it a session. But just to recap for you guys what our plan is, Aussie CAD, we're sell biased, just waiting for price action to basically come into these points of interest up here, where we'll try and find our sell bias trading activity or some sell bias trading opportunities. Let's see. Okay, cool. Price action came very close. Didn't trigger us in the alert. Didn't trigger the alert. Let's see what's cooking on a 1 hour. So on 1 hour, we're basically moving sideways. So I'll still be waiting for price action to come and tap into my point of interest, because now I've got a nice set of equal highs above here. If we don't get a nice retest of these equal highs, then obviously here's our previous support that we can wait for a break and a retest of, or maybe a head and shoulder structure that we can look at previous resistance. Obviously, this can be our left shoulder, this can be our head, and obviously if we come back to this neckline and come back and retest this right shoulder area, we'll look for our sell bias trading activity. So just checking there for how we can manage, because we always do this. We just create a directional bias and we find an area where we can trade that directional bias. The rest is up to the market. How the market is going to present an entry, what the market is going to do, all that other extra stuff, that's not for my mind to think about. I'm just waiting for the market to present me something that allows me to trigger myself into the trade. What that entry criteria is, I don't know, but I do understand what reasons will be reason enough for me to be able to press buy or sell on my charts. So otherwise, guys, I don't see any other questions there in the chat. So to round the session off, guys, I'm going to remind you guys again that if you guys maybe want to DM, whatever the case is, you want to join Forex Chasers or something of that nature, because I have these sessions like these. Friday, we've got sessions like these. Monday morning is basically Lisiba session. Tuesday, Wednesday is me and Mamba's session. In the morning, we do our analysis, prepare you guys for the rest of the trading day. And then on Friday, you guys know we have a psychology back on the week. We see what we've learned from the week, what we can employ next week. And then also we want to be specific to you guys' issues. So we ask you guys, how did you guys go through your week? Then obviously whatever issues you guys have been through, we try and help you guys create processes that obviously help you become a better trader. So if you guys maybe want to join Forex Chasers or whatever the case is, just DM me there on Instagram. I did put my handle there in the chats, but if you guys missed it, it's at T_main.SA. T-main, that's what I am on everything, on every platform. Otherwise, if you guys remember, or if you guys want to go into time frame thinking and what time frame thinking is, how you can use the time frames as part of your process, how you can use time frames to actually validate your information, guys, definitely just go on YouTube, search T-main time frame thinking, and you'll definitely find a video that explains the concept of time frame thinking to you guys. Otherwise, I think I'm 100% through with our session. Hopefully you guys did enjoy what I had for you guys for the session. Let there be peace in the streets, guys. Let there be peace in the streets. Let there be peace in the streets. Let our brothers and sisters be safe. Let me go and end the stream now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let there be peace there. Let there be peace, guys.